Hi, my name is Bryan, and this is the Philippine Business Playbook Podcast. I'm the host and the CEO of Tache, and today we have a very special guest, Richard Levychin, Managing Partner of Galleros Robinson, and also a good friend of mine. We've known each other for a very long time, and he, with Galleros Robinson, has a nice-sized office of staff in the Philippines, and so I wanted to bring him in, have a little talk, find out why he did that, what his experiences are, maybe things that he's learned doing that other people may not know, and his vision for the future and all that kind of good stuff. Richard, thank you for being our first guest on the Philippine Business Playbook podcast.
Oh, your first guest?
First guest. You know, I start at the top. We're setting a bar. We're going to set it high. I don't know. We might have to never have a guest again because the bar will be so high.
So you have a black guy as the first guest in the Philippine Business Network. Okay.
Well, you know, I don't know. Where else would we start? I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see how this goes.
Let's see how it goes. I don't know. Maybe we'll see how it goes. So tell me a little bit about Galleros Robinson, your operations. I know you got offices all over the world,
Yep.
Including in the Philippines. But maybe you can just tell me a little bit about Galleros Robinson and what you guys are all about.
So Galleros Robinson, we're a CPA and advisory firm. Right now we're about 90-odd people. We have offices in New York City, New Jersey, Boca Raton, Florida. Just opened an office in Chicago. And we also have an office in the Philippines, in Cebu City.
That's awesome. And you were in the Philippines within the last year, right? With your team?
Yeah, we were actually scheduled to. We actually go to at least one of the partners goes to the Philippines at least 3 times a year. Mm-hmm. But once a year we have an annual retreat. So 2 years ago we were in the Philippines. It's right after COVID. So prior to that we weren't able to go, and there were about 20-odd people there. And then last year. We're getting ready to go out again, but the people in the Philippines said, well, we've already been to the Philippines because we live there. So we ended up going to Thailand.
Oh, did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we ended up having our annual team building retreat in Thailand.
That's
about
awesome.
25 people, maybe 25, 30 people, and about 5 came in from the U.S.
Okay. You didn't invite me to that team building.
It's only GR people.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
But we're scheduled, actually we just finalized it. We're scheduled to be in the Philippines in Manila mid-January for about a couple of days, and then we're going to go off to one of the islands because we like to go after one of the islands.
Yeah, for sure.
After we get past the team building, then
for
it's
sure.
time to.
Do you know what island you're going to go to?
I haven't figured it out yet.
Okay.
But 2 years ago it was Siargao.
Yeah, Siargao's awesome.
We had a great time in Siargao.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, every time I go, I try to hit a different island, whether it's El Nido or Siargao, Bohol.
It's like 7,000 islands.
Yeah, it's going to take a little while to hit them all.
Take a little while.
So with your team going to Siargao, going to other islands, why do you spend so much effort in doing all these crazy things? I mean, I don't know with the U.S. team. Are you taking them to Hawaii and other amazing locations?
So what we did with the U.S. team, first of all, the majority of our money, aside from payroll, we spend a lot of money on technology because having a young staff, they want to have the coolest, grooviest new toys.
Sure.
So we spend a lot of money on technology, but we also spend a significant amount of money on time and energy and creative energy on culture.
Yeah.
So it's very important that to have this messaging and this engagement that we are one firm. So when you have a firm that has multiple offices across the country and as far as the Philippines, it's important that everybody feels that they're part of one firm. And the only way to do that is actually to physically spend time with people.
Yep.
So part of going out to the Philippines is just going out there and just spending time. I mean, we spend about a day or 2 on team building, but the rest of it is literally just going out and drinking and eating and a lot of karaoke.
To me, that's as important as the setting the goals for the next year and all the nuts and bolts stuff that you need to do.
Yeah, so that's it. It's really about bonding. Yeah. And what we do is we bring as many of the U.S. people over as possible. And for the U.S. folks, what we did was we actually went, took a cruise to the Bahamas. So that was their thing. So it's very important that we all kind of get together. Usually around Christmas time, we have people. Like recently, we had an accountants conference maybe about a month ago. So we flew in about 20 people from the Philippines to be part of the accountants conference.
Very cool. Very cool. So I also love the fact that your team in the Philippines is, they're accountants, they're doing high level work, they're not VAs, they're not, call center people. You've really kind of leveled up on the type of talent that you're looking for and the type of work that you're doing. And that's kind of my philosophy and my goal for Tachi and the clients that we do is really kind of leveling up, thinking bigger about what the possibilities are. Was it always that case for you? Like how long have you had the office in the Philippines and like what has been your learnings from that during that time?
Well, I joined the firm in October 2018 and we were 20 people, had a small office in New York City and a larger office in Jersey, and we've grown to these larger offices, and we used an outsource another company to hire people. So we hired through a third party. Mm-hmm. But while we're doing that, we actually in the process of creating our own firm in the Philippines. So the way things works is that when you open a firm in another state, you have to, in the U.S., you have to go to get licensed from the other state.
Sure.
But if you open a firm in the Philippines, you actually have to form a separate entity in the Philippines. So we had to go through the process of creating an accounting company in the Philippines. And then, which we do, called the Galleros Group. And all of our people that we have within the Galleros Group sit on the payroll of the Galleros Group. Galleros Group is a wholly owned subsidiary of our firm, Galleros Robinson. But originally, we used to hire from these outsourced entities, and we just decided that going forward, economically and for a bunch of other reasons, culture-wise, that we wanted to just have our own people on our payroll.
Yeah.
And over time, so right now we have about 40 people under the Galleros Group.
That's awesome.
That are employees of the Galleros Group. We actually have 2 companies that we've engaged to do recruiting within the Philippines, and they focus only on Big 4 accounting firms, and we only focus on actually 3 of the Big 4 accounting firms.
Right.
And we're looking for 2 to 10-year people.
Yep.
And we're doing quite well in terms of being able to attract people. So in the accounting profession, the turnover rate in the public accounting is somewhere between 10 and 15%, depending on who you talk to. But in Galleros Robinson, we're under 5%.
Well, I mean, if you're taking it to Taiwan or Thailand and other islands and stuff like that, that helps. I remember I was thinking about the quality of the employees in the Philippines and how there's a long tail of all these, the VAs and the call center people and everything, but there is that front end of the line where you got people that worked at Big 4 accounting firms that have, that are CPAs, that have huge, great degrees and worked with companies in the U.S. And the key is to be trying to hire people in that. Yeah,
that's our focus. Like we literally have 2 recruiting firms, actually, where that's what they're looking for. They're targeting the Big 4 accounting firms that are located in the Philippines.
Right. They're reaching out to them. They're calling them.
They're looking for that 2 to 5 year person that's a CPA.
Yep.
It's got significant experience working with U.S. firms, either on the audit or the tax side.
Right.
That's well versed in generally accepted accounting principles, generally accepted auditing standards, or the IRS tax code.
Yep.
And we're going after them, and we're getting them.
That's amazing. I mean, it's so genius because you when somebody in these small and medium-sized businesses in the U.S. and they've just learned about outsourcing, they've heard about it, but they've mostly past COVID have decided that, hey, maybe this is something I really need to think about, and then they go on Upwork or they go on Freelancer or one of these online jobs.ph, and they hire these guys that are not from Big 4 accounting firms. They maybe have been working 5 years or something like that, freelancing and stuff like that, and they just don't have the skills, and then they get disgruntled and it's like, is this how does it work, and so that's why knowing your story over the years, I just love it, and I love how you guys focused on we're going to get the cream of the crop,
right? And
when you get the cream of the crop, they're going to succeed. So tell me about the quality of the work and the quality of the team that you got.
Well, the thing is that in our profession in the U.S. In the finance and accounting arena, it's very tough to find talent. There's a actual negative. There's a negative talent. There's a talent shortage in finance and accounting.
Sure.
People are leaving the profession. lot of people. So you got people retiring, and you got
Yeah.
people not going into the profession, like literally not going into the profession.
It's not a sexy profession.
Not a sexy
I
profession.
mean, sexy guys, but we're not getting all the sexy profession. It's not software development. It's not whatever.
So a lot of people are not going into the profession. So in essence, and business is expanding and growing. So what you have is a significant demand for talent, and the supply chain is not that deep.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a situation like that, it drives up the labor costs. And then the bigger firms are taking all the talent. So when you get to a firm my size, I mean, yeah, we're 90 people. By the time you get down to us, it's kind of tough to find really good, talented people.
Sure.
So we're kind of like a small fish shopping in a shrinking pond.
Mm-hmm.
So in essence, in going to the Philippines, I mean, at the end of the day, we're looking for high quality people. That's what we're looking for.
Yep.
I don't care if you're a Martian or a Klingon. At the end of the day, we're looking for high quality people. We found a pool of extremely high quality people in the Philippines.
Yep.
And that's what we're doing.
That's awesome.
And our clients, we have a 90-something percentile client retention rate. Clients are extremely satisfied. Satisfied clients stay with you and they refer business.
Yeah, I mean, I love it when I was looking at your LinkedIn profile, and I know I've heard you speak in the past, and how you promote that, the strategy that you've employed, and kind of the end statement is always our clients are satisfied.
Yeah.
We're providing excellent service,
Right.
and at competitive prices, and the clients are satisfied.
Yeah.
And I love how I think that when people are thinking about outsourcing for the first time, they think about like, oh, I'm going to have to hide this. This is something to be shameful of. This is something that am I getting 80% of the quality, but I'm saving 50% on the cost? And that's the math they're doing on their head is like, oh, what I try to say, and I think what you try to say at the same time, is you can get as good a quality or maybe even better because you're able to find people that have those qualities and you can afford them.
Well, the thing is that the people that we're getting, there are no, and I'll say this respectfully as much as I can, there are no millennial issues.
Sure.
They come to work.
Yeah.
They come to work hard, and they come to work within a team. Outstanding communicators, and they just provide great service to the clients.
Right.
And the other thing is that one of the things that we do as part of our overall cultural experiences is that we encourage people in the Philippines to come to the U.S. So we actually have a law firm that we work with, immigration lawyer, to help them get their paperwork together because we want them to come for 3 to 6 months a year.
That's awesome.
And part of that is we want them to be able to experience U.S. culture, and what better place to experience U.S. culture than New York City?
Right.
And so it's not theoretical, but it's actual real. So it also impacts how they engage with clients, being able to actually experience the U.S. culture. This week we had somebody come to the U.S. She had been living in the Philippines. Paperwork's done. Now she's a permanent resident of the U.S.
Really?
Yes.
That's very cool.
So
and she was working with you in the Philippines, and now is still working with you.
Yeah, still working with us.
Yeah.
But she's living in the U.S. full time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think and we've had dozens of our staff come to the U.S., train on site, live in the communities that our clients are based. And it's amazing to see how much that experience leverages the team in the Philippines, because then they go back and they talk about the experience and the way they're able to communicate with the clients, like you said. And then when I'm looking at the teams that do that, they are super successful. They grow so fast that because they're leveraging that team. And so I think that's part of the message that I want to get out to people is like, these are the best practices that are going to make you have a successful team, not only in the Philippines, but just in general.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, if you have a firm and your firm is expanding and it's global, it doesn't matter where they're located, whether it's the Philippines or in Europe or whatever, you need to have some sort of cultural awakening, cultural work where you're bringing people together. And you can only do it so well in a virtual environment. there has to, in my opinion, there has to be some sort of physical coming together once, twice, 3 times a year in some format. You don't have to bring everybody together, but if you can bring pieces together in one central location a couple of times a year, it makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
I mean, it really does, because ultimately, if you're in the service business, in order for your people to service others, they have to feel that they're part of the culture. They have to feel like with the people, our folk, they feel they're part of something bigger than them, and they're contributing to that, and their input is important. When we were I tell you a story. When we were in Thailand, I had scheduled breakfast with my team, and my sole focus of breakfast was to have breakfast. And so the night before the breakfast, the manager calls up and says, "I want to do a SWOT analysis." I'm like, "But I want to do breakfast." He says, "No, I think we should do a SWOT analysis." So, fine. So I show up at breakfast, drinking my mimosa, and they show up with all the paperwork to do a SWOT analysis. I'm like, "Oh, jeez." So they're doing it. So we did a SWOT analysis. So then, and what I said to them was, "Look, we have the partners meeting in Florida in about 2 weeks. I need for you guys to put this in a PowerPoint." And they put the whole thing in a PowerPoint and did a presentation at the partners meeting.
Amazing.
And one of the concepts that came out of that was this concept called reverse mentorship. So traditional mentorship is where the leaders mentor the younger folks.
Sure.
Reverse mentorship is where the younger folks mentor the senior level people.
Did you guys invent that? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, we invented it.
That's amazing. Okay, tell me more.
So at the SWOT, when they did the SWOT analysis, the presentation was created in such a way where they were presenting their findings to the partners. These are observations of what's going on in the firm. These are the areas that we want improvement in. And they basically did the presentation, and the partners were just blown away that they did the whole thing.
That's awesome.
I mean, I reviewed it, but for the most part, they just ran the whole thing.
That's awesome.
But the thing is that the fact that they were the ones who came up with the idea.
Well, then they bought in, right? It's their idea.
Because they bought into the culture, they bought into the firm. Because one of the things that we kept pushing with them is that, listen, you need to make an imprint here. You know, this is a huge opportunity for you. And a lot of firms aren't doing this, and a lot of people are coming out of the big firms, Price Waterhouse, Deloitte, whatever, and they're kind of Deloitte and Price Waterhouse. They got them buried in the staff room in the back somewhere, with no visibility. So they're in a firm where they have high visibility with the partners, and so I'm like, listen, if you got this kind of visibility, then you need to make your imprint on the firm. You have an opportunity to steer the ship. Then you got to jump in. And I think they took it to heart and decided to do the SWOT analysis. They put together the PowerPoint. They did the PowerPoint presentation at the partners meeting, and the person who led it was somebody who had been at the firm for maybe 4 months. Came out of Price Waterhouse, and her stock exploded after that. Like, everybody wanted to work with her.
Of course, yeah.
So, that's the kind of environment and the culture that we foster within the firm.
That's awesome, and I love that. Throughout this whole conversation, you haven't been bringing up salaries or anything at all. In fact, I'm the one who's brought it up a few times, and really the leverage point is much greater than just salaries A versus salaries B. It's you're talking about commitment and culture and wanting to do a SWOT analysis at a breakfast when you were just asking to have breakfast.
I just wanted mimosas, man.
And then that leading to suggestions from the staff that were presented to the partners.
And then seeing those suggestions being implemented.
If somebody was thinking about starting an office in the Philippines or just anywhere, as an expansion of their company, like what tips or ideas that might you have as far as thinking about that and how they might go about it?
Well, for me, I mean, I can only share my experience.
Sure.
So the firm I joined already had Filipino partners. So in order for me to...
Did you have a hurdle that you had to get over mentally about, like, is this going to work? What is the...
Great question. So when I was leaving my old firm to join other firms, I mean, there's a lot of firms that I could have joined in New York City. And so I didn't speak to a lot. But the few that I spoke to, what was coming up for me was they were going to have a talent shortage. I could see it. And this firm had figured that out and had great culture. And that was the only, I just needed great people to service my clients.
Sure.
So in essence, once I found that out, then for me it was about, okay, I need to know more about this culture, this Filipino culture. And I spent a lot of time and energy just engaging with, learning more about the culture, increasing my cultural intelligence within that community. So the first order of business is really just increasing your cultural intelligence in terms of wherever you're going. Going and going to the Philippines and being American in the Philippines is, I mean, no. Come on.
Right.
You really need to go with an open mind and really embrace and learn this whole culture.
Yeah.
So that's so for me, the first order of business is just increasing cultural intelligence. Now, the thing about our firm is that we're not just Filipinos. We have Hispanic people, we have black folks, we've got white folks. We also have a very strong and robust LGBTQ community. So the leadership itself has to have very strong cultural intelligence around a lot of different communities.
Sure.
And I think that in terms of getting high quality talent, that's one of the keys. I mean, there's regular IQ, which is just intellectual intelligence, and then there's EQ, which is emotional intelligence, but there's also CQ, which is cultural intelligence, which is CQ is the measurement of cultural intelligence, and the ability to interact and engage with multiple cultures seamlessly.
So it's almost like a secret power. If you have the ability to work across cultures, to have that cultural intelligence, like you said, I think that you are now opening yourselves up to a whole new marketplace of employees and staff and what your company can do, compared to maybe other companies that don't have that same ability.
Well, it's not just staff, but also clients.
Sure.
So it's called the simple math theory. And the way it works is this: the more people that you're able to engage with across multiple cultures, the better opportunity you have to hire the person that fits your company perfectly, does great work for the right price.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on the expense side. On the revenue side, the more people that you can touch culturally, the better the more business you're going to be able to attract that's going to need your services and pay your price, maybe even pay a premium.
Sure. Yeah. I it's obvious. I mean, if you're able to expand your net on both sides, you're catching more fish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they just they do what's comfortable for them, and they're not able to go up to that next level because they're not putting any energy into increasing their cultural intelligence.
Do you see that improving? Do you see more and more companies doing that, or is it?
Well, I mean,
how far along are we on this road?
I don't think that we're that far along on this road. I know in my profession, I think the cultural intelligence thing is just not that great. So, for example, in 1980, they took a survey and they found that 1% of in terms of they took a measurement where they wanted to determine the percentage of CPAs in the profession in 1980 that were black. You know what the percentage was? 1%.
1%.
Yes. You know what the percentage is today? 2%.
It's a slow road.
Yes. So in my profession, just off of that, it's kind of like, the cultural intelligence thing is probably not happening. Now, for me, that's I hate to say it, that's kind of great.
I was just going to say, it seems like a competitive advantage.
It's a competitive advantage.
Right.
Because for me, if you're having trouble finding people, and there's this pool of people over here that you're either not going after, or going after inappropriately because your cultural intelligence is not
Right.
good, it's not high, it's going to ultimately result in poor performance, upset clients, lost clients, and which is an opportunity for me.
Yeah.
So what we found is that in our profession, in a lot of professions, and I think you have alluded to it, but you didn't just flat out come out and say it, they think of the outsourcing as limited to either VAs or like back office.
Yep.
So they literally, yeah, they may end up hiring the same level person that I hire, same high level qualities, and stick them in the back doing work, where what we're doing is that we have them doing work, but we're having them interface with clients. And having them interface with clients means I don't have to interface with clients, which frees up my time to go out and get more clients.
Yep.
And what it does is that it increases their ability to grow and eventually grow. As they grow and advance through the organization, they're able to contribute more to the organization, which ultimately impacts everybody. It positively impacts them, their growth, impacts our growth, our ability to how we experience ourselves in the firm. It reduces the amount of hours that everybody works. The clients are happy. Firms making money. Life is beautiful.
Amen. I love it. And I think that you said it beautifully. It's the ability, I don't know if it's the imagination, the cultural intelligence to understand that there is a secret weapon here. It's right out there. Anyone could do it.
Right.
And there's so many people that are unable to get beyond that. You know, we're just going to have them be VAs or call center people. And you know, 15 years ago, you had all these people that had accounting degrees, engineering degrees, whatever, and the best jobs they could get were in call centers because their English was great and they're, you know, studious and whatever. But you're taking somebody that has these great skills and you're not efficiently using them in the market.
Well, the key word to use is them.
Yeah.
A lot of people treat affiliation or operations in the Philippines, it's them people over there in the Philippines. And for us, it's like, no, we're one big family. So one of the things when I joined the firm, we actually brought in a coach to do a 2-day retreat, and one of the things we worked on was our core values. I mean, any coach, they always start with the core values.
Yep.
And usually the core values may take a day or a week or whatever, and it's usually 4 or 5 sentences as well thought out. It's a whole bunch of pretty words.
Yep.
And it's put up on the in the lobby for everybody to see. So we went through ours, and our core values is just one word. That word is family. And we treat everybody like family. And the reason why we treat everybody like family is because our CEO, Nora Galleros, she was working for a big firm, and she wasn't seeing her child. And she saw how much women struggled in the profession to climb the ladder and at the same time have a family.
Right.
So she decided if she was going to create a firm, women and men would be able to work hard, advance, and still have families. So in other words, we purposely created the firm so people could have families and have work-life balance.
That's awesome.
So what we do as a firm is like we actually overstaff.
Sure.
So because we're trying to keep everybody's hours down.
Right. Ideally everyone's working at 90% of capacity,
right,
as opposed to 120% of capacity. But I think that mindset and that strategy kind of developed because of the labor shortage that we have. I mean, we're at like 3.5% unemployment in the U.S. It's so hard to like add that extra person on the team. And so you end up asking everyone to work 120%.
As opposed to, if you got this pool of talent, I mean, you don't have to do that. You can always find people. I mean, a lot of like, for example, our tax department, one of our tax managers, when it's time to hire somebody, she goes, we need to hire, we need to hire somebody. And I'll agree. And I'll say, go speak to HR. She goes, no, I got 3 people. 3 of my buddies already lined up. When do you want to meet with them?
Right. And they're coming from great, experience. They've got the degrees, proven records.
So she's out there like talking to people, networking, and she's like, okay, you could work for my firm, you could work for my firm. And when it's time, she just says, okay, let's get you an interview.
I feel like we're people that found that secret fishing hole,
right,
that nobody else knows about. But we're trying to tell people that, hey, there's great fishing over there, and it's sometimes getting people to take the blinders off from, just what they think is possible and what we know is possible.
Yeah,
is a challenge.
One of my favorite Larry Bird stories is that Celtics were playing the games the fourth quarter and they were down by down by 2 points. And it's their ball, and there's like, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds left. So they call a timeout. They draw up a play for Larry Bird. So come out of the timeout. Larry Bird goes over to his man. He tells him to play. We're going to set a pick here, a pick there. I'm going to be in that corner. I'm going to shoot the ball in your face, and game over, and you're not going to be able to do anything to stop me. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I feel if I were to hand my playbook over to other people in my profession, they would not be able to replicate. Because they're not, I feel like they're not willing to do the necessary cultural intelligence work to get it to work. They'll have some short-term success, but over time, those people will get disgruntled and they'll move along.
It's so funny because I've, from the very beginning, have been very vocal about how I built my business and the strategies I employed, and I know you've done the same thing. And some people were like, well, why do you got such a great business and things are going so good, why do you want to? I was like, because I don't think they're going to do it. And if they do, more power to them. It's awesome, and there's plenty of opportunity out there. But people just don't want to.
Well, this is your business. You're in the business of
I'm trying
to matching people up.
I'm trying to, yeah.
I'm in the business of creating a great accounting firm. So if my competitors screw this up.
But I think you've got at least a 6-year run personally for you in front of and I don't know how long Galleros Robinson themselves have been in business, but you create, even if you do everything, we also know it's still very hard. Even if you got the whole playbook, it's still very hard.
It's still, yeah.
You've got to create culture over time. You've got to find the right people. That's right. You gotta support them. They've got to believe in you. All that stuff takes time. Right. And I've been running my business for 13 years and made a lot of mistakes along the way. And things grow over time. And I encourage everyone, and that's what our business is helping people start down that path. And we've got clients that are booming, that 20, 30, 50, 70 people with one of our bigger clients. But these aren't call centers. These are like legit offices doing like real professional work, and but the ones that are succeeding are the ones that understand what you've been talking about, which is it's not a us and them. It's a total corporate, identity.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, and the interesting thing about those organizations, they may have locations in the U.S. and the location in the Philippines, and they'll work really hard to galvanize the individuals in the U.S., but not the same for the Philippines, which is insane.
Right. And then they wonder why it doesn't work. Yeah.
It's what it is, man.
Well, Richard, this was amazing, and I really appreciate. We've definitely set the bar really high. I really appreciate you coming here, spending a few minutes, and
sure.
Maybe the next time we'll do the recording in the Philippines. It'd be awesome.
Well, we'll be there in January, so
I'm gonna be there in December. Coming back, I'll go back in April though, so come back again in April. We'll figure it out. Well,
somebody will be out there. I know my partner Nora goes out there a lot, so it should be a good person for me to sit down and speak to.
Okay. Well, we'll put Richard's contact info, the company contact info in there if anyone wants to reach out to him regarding accounting services. And if you want to set up a office in the Philippines, reach out to Tache. We definitely would love to help you out with that. And like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Philippines Business Playbook Podcast. A lot of great content coming up, and we'd love to have you part of it. Thanks a lot. Until next time. Bye-bye.